Hi, welcome to the Poleshift News. Guys, got a few things coming up this week. I know I haven't done a video for the last 3 days, but I've been trying to get ahead of a few things. Before we start, as usual, great big thanks to those people supporting the MAVERICKSTAR Observatory. We don't just talk about these events that are currently taking place and gearing up to deliver something really significant in the not too distant future. We actually take a more proactive approach, and we have taken it upon ourselves to now add another 4 magnetometers to our global campaign to monitor the magnetic pole migration both over the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere of this planet. So big thanks to those guys supporting it. Without you guys, we couldn't have got where we are today. Okay, so what's coming up this week? Well, we're going to be collecting some data from the United States over in Kentucky and South California, hopefully, and doing the same over in Perth in Australia and the Gold Coast. And we'll be processing that data and probably around Thursday, Friday, putting it up on the website, what we've got. Remember, this is just the first week's test, so it's just 1 week's worth of data, and then we'll set them magnetometers up for a month to take a reading over the month, and we'll have a look at them again like we do with the TriMag system and the magnetosphere system. So what else have we got coming up? Yeah, bit of bad news. It looks like we have now lost those magnetometers, the rare ones as well, that I've been struggling to get hold of. They've not arrived in the post. I've messaged the company which have brought them off twice now, and just going round and round in circles with this. So I'm going to try over the course of this week to locate some more of those. If not, we're going to look at having the actual magnetometers, the ones we use, remade, and failing that, we're going to have someone that we're going to be having a little fly on the wall interview in the middle of the week on the channel. Perhaps have a look at see if he can go around and find a back door as to getting these online with the program that I've got, which may involve me travelling down to the south coast of the UK to do that, but I'll do it. Where else? Yeah, the interview that we're going to do with Andy, some of you may have heard of him. He's got a small YouTube channel, Andology, on YouTube. And what we was going to do is just have a little chat, because we was talking the other day about why it's so important to prepare, even in countries like here in the UK, the United States, Canada, Australia and Europe. Why is it important to prepare? And it's because, guys, things are now starting to ramp up and they're starting to change, and it's becoming more obvious. It's only a matter of the time before really mainstream media do latch onto this big event that's taking place on our planet and start mentioning some of these cycles like the Maunder minimum, the Dalton minimum, Grand Solar minimum, and these things that you're already familiar with. They probably won't be pushing anything along the lines of telling people to get prepared, but listen, some of these people within these big organisations like NASA, like the director of NASA, came out and said, prepare. It's time to start making some preparations for yourselves. And it really is, guys. It should have been started for some of you guys out there yesterday. And me and Andy just wanted to go through this week, probably in an hour's podcast on YouTube, of why some of the reasons we should be thinking about it more seriously, even though we are relatively safe in these third world countries that we're in, first world countries like ourselves. And it's because there's a multitude of things now that possibly can throw spanners up into the works. One of them, as you can see and you're looking at right now, is just the effects that the jet streams are having on the planet with regards to floods. This week, some of you guys in the United States will be familiar with the amount of damage it's caused to crops. I believe that will have a global impact, yet the rest of us are going to be experiencing later on this year with regards to food prices. And I think most of you are already noticing the costs and ever increasing costs with regards to buying your groceries every week. It is a time, guys, to start making some preparations, start paying a bit more attention to what's going on in the world, and focusing on what is important for you, perhaps with your family and loved ones. And if you haven't yet put up some insurance in forms of preps and preparation equipment, then now is the time to start looking at that. That's what we're going to go through in this podcast later on this week. So you're going to enjoy it. We're going to not just be talking about jet streams, but what caused the jet streams to change over the last 30 years. And some of you guys that have been following me know it's a direct result of the Earth going through a magnetic reversal. We've also got something else which appears to be creeping in on the scene, and some are describing it as a grand solar minimum. I've described it as a possible return to another glacial period, which is a 12,000 year cycle, and my reasons for that. So we'll briefly discuss that as well in that interview. But some of the things you might want to consider, just taking part in getting your things together, would be perhaps 3 months worth of food supply, a means of charging up a ham radio or a phone or a laptop, etc., a shelter for your loved ones, and the means to light a fire so you can keep warm, and some knowledge on foraging wild fruits and vegetables, and possibly even growing your own. And it's never a bad idea to start practicing your growing of your own food, because whilst prices of food are going to be on the increase, this land that we have available for growing crops globally is reducing. These are going to be putting pressure on your families because prices are going to be going up. You're going to probably notice, like we did here in the UK, during some weather events that took place over Europe, that some of the salads that we couldn't get hold of, just because of crop damage. This is going to become more apparent, guys. And like I say, it's not going to be a bad idea if you can at least grow a bit of your own food and start putting that into practice. And you know what, it's a great thing if you've got grandkids, children of your own. Get them involved, get them off the Xboxes and the PlayStations and the computers and the phones, and get them outside and do a barbecue with them whilst you're probably preparing some food beds for seeds, crops of your own. We've been looking at this clip for the last 5 minutes, and it should come as no surprise to some of you guys why we are focusing on jet streams on our planet and where they should be. And quite clearly, as you can see, there isn't a polar jet at 60 degrees north, there isn't a subtropical jet at 30 degrees north, and it's the same for the southern hemisphere. Our jet streams on this planet, which regulate and control the weather, have gone haywire. And the longer we are now in this later stage of the magnetic pole reversal, this anomaly that's taking place with our jet streams is just going to spiral out of control and get much worse. I want to show you the jet streams today on our planet. So looking today at the jet streams and the condition of them, you can see that at 30 degrees north and south, where the subtropical jet streams are, that it's very much chaotic. Over the northern hemisphere at 60 degrees and 60 degrees south over the southern hemisphere. Again, same story. If I just go and show you what it's like over the northern hemisphere right now of our planet, it should come as no surprise that when we start having this cold air mixed with that subtropical air as the jet stream yonders into each other, it's going to deliver the results like what we've been witnessing over in the United States. Flash floods, more Arctic climates at much increased rates, like in Russia. This is taking place, guys, and by all means it hasn't reached any equilibrium at this point in time. This is getting worse and will continue to get worse, and at a time when there is 8 billion people on this planet that heavily are reliant on the technological infrastructure to hold it all together. It is just a matter of time before something changes, and as a repercussion of that change, a multitude of scenarios could unfold. If we start getting famine on a large scale and it starts to affect our westernized countries, then wars can break out over this. Thousands and thousands of people can starve as a result of this. It couldn't come at a worse time. We are depleting and poisoning one of the largest stocks on this planet, the oceans, and we're killing off the species in these oceans at an alarming rate. Nearly 5 grand garbage patches now circulate our planet. One of them over the size and state of Texas. Can you believe that, guys? You know, these are the nursery stocks of where our food comes from. And, you know, through lack of global powers working together to clean up this mess in international waters, they're never going to be resolved. No one country is going to take it upon themselves to start clearing this up. And the other problem is now the problem has been going on for so long in these grand patches of garbage, is that it's been smashing it up into microscopic particles, and it is very, very difficult to filter back out the oceans. You know, some of these particles will be in the oceans for thousands of years to come. So the damage that we've created already on this planet, just in the oceans alone, is a problem that our children's children are going to have to live with. And, you know, we should be better stewards, guys. We should look after our planet a lot more. And that's why I say I think it's really important for mainstream media to start picking up more and more on this. And I do believe that, you know, it will do eventually, but I just hope that the masses don't get to hear about this before it's too late for us to do something about it. Obviously, we're not in control of the magnetic poles on this planet, and they are going through a reversal at this period of time. But it couldn't come at a worse time, guys, and the effects of the magnetic poles reversing now are only too apparent. There is more water building up in these jet streams as a result of inbound cosmic radiation through a shrinkage of the heliosphere because of the low output of the sun, and on top of that we have a magnetic reversal. And you cannot compare this time with any of the cycles like the Maunder minimum, the Dalton minimum. You can't, simply because we have something else taking place, very new, that hasn't took place for such a long period of time, and that's the magnetic reversal. In turn, it weakens the magnetosphere, allows a lot more cosmic radiation in, and now what we're seeing over the southern hemisphere of this planet is an interaction with that cosmic radiation and the aerosols in the ozone hole over the Antarctic, and as a result it is creating cloud nuclei, or perfect platforms for condensation to form, and that puts more water into these jet streams, which gets transported then back into, you know, the rest of the world. And, you know, with more water in the atmosphere, it is just going to be a case of more snow in the more northern and southern territories of this planet, and more rain in the subtropical ones. We're in a lot of trouble, guys, and that's why it is really important, you know, to take a little bit of precaution for yourselves, your family, and, you know, if you can as well, support what we do on this channel. We're trying to bring the awareness, and not only just bring the awareness, we're actually, you know, like I said, we're proactive. We've gone out there, we've built the magnetometers, designed them, built them, we're tracking the magnetic North Pole, and this week we get to see our global data come back and be processed and put up onto the website. So if ever there was a good reason to support our channel, that should be it, guys. Guys, I'm going to look forward to seeing you at the mid stage of this week. The links are down there. If you want to support us on Patreon or PayPal, it's up to you, entirely up to you, guys. It's not mandatory, but you know what? Without the support, we can't keep doing what we're doing here at the observatory. And trust me, the work's mounting up on me now, more than it ever has done. So, you know, I want a big thank you for say a big thank you and shout out for those guys that have been supporting us on both Patreon and PayPal, and hope you continue to do it, guys. I'll catch up with you in the middle of the week sometime. Have a great week, and I'll say what I usually do. Bye for now. Love you lots.